Welcome to the UFFS podcast with Darren Bates and Larry Fisher.
Oh, baby!
Shining a spotlight on the most realistic fantasy sports platform ever.
Wow!
If it happens in Ultimate Franchise Fantasy Sports, you'll find out here. UFFS, you own the game.
And welcome to the UFFS vacation, or in the middle of a hurricane, or whatever the heck you want to call this type of podcast. Not even going to give it a number, Dino. We even gave Larry Fisher the weekend off, so he's not going to join us. He probably doesn't even know we're doing this. And I know that Trish is on your case because you got plans too, my man. Welcome and hello.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Yeah, Larry has, between Larry and Andrea and Nathan saving the UFHL draft last night, they have so much. So I said, you know what, Trish, put the Tetris music on pause because I like to play Tetris as she packs our car before vacation. We're going to do a little bit of a podcast here today before I can jet home to Manitoba and see my dad. Haven't seen him in over 2 years, so it's going to be really special for us and our family and my brother, and I know you've got some family time planned, and that's the thing. We're all really busy in so many exciting things, but we do have to make sure we take time to enjoy what we're doing and remember the family members that maybe we haven't seen. So glad that we could fit this in, but I apologize if you hear like a horn honking in the background or something. That just means Trish is getting anxious, and we're not even leaving for a couple of days, but glad to be here, my man.
Yeah, I haven't left yet either. I'm, kind of taking a little bit of somewhat vacation time on my back deck. If I can avoid my neighbor's sprinkler and the dogs barking in the neighbor's yard, I will be doing something okay here. But glad you get to go to see your family, Dino. I get to do the same. We're actually going to crisscross, I think, crossing paths. I'm going to pass you, headed to Saskatchewan. You're going to pass me, headed to Manitoba. But like you say, sometimes we've got to put the phones down after all the restrictions we've seen in the past year and see some family and friends. Saw some great friends this past week in Vegas, Dean. It was amazing. We're going to talk about that coming up. But, one thing that I want to highlight is that, we talked a lot about the Klein Cup. We had the Klein Cup playoffs going on. Obviously, we had the Founders Cup that was won a couple of months back, or maybe it wasn't quite that. And it was all UFHL. And some might think that we were talking about UFAFL and the football that it's done, but there's been no slowing down. You talk about the auction that you participated in and Duckman's Domination did yesterday. It's been crazy, Dean. I know that you guys have been busy, all the GMs, the scouts. There's a lot going on, man.
Oh man, it is crazy. Sorry, I'm trying to save time, so I'm just getting into vacation mode as we go. Last night's draft, there was so much happening. There was so much excitement. And, for Duckman's Domination, there was some real Marsh Foundation building blocks that we were able to grab in this draft. We went into this draft, Darren, with 9 picks. We had 10, but one of them is going away in another trade. So it is massively important for us in this weekend's draft to build those foundation blocks and not swing and a miss, if you will, when it comes to that. So I think I can bring it up. Here's a look at what we did this weekend in the draft. William Eklund, Nikita Chabrikov, Zachary Boldu, Corson Ceulemans, and Logan Stankoven are 5 first-round picks, and this draft will continue today. This is massive for us and so many other teams. We want to compete right away. There's no secret. We've stripped down and are rebuilding, and those we went for a lot of skill. Also helps that 2 of those players are owned by Trish's high-level scouting. So that means that, because we're adults and we share the same bank account, it lessens the bottom line. So the draft was great, once we got going. And again, yeoman's work by Andrea, Nathan, and Larry to make sure it got off at least in the first round. And great by all the GMs and owners to have patience that were there. We've got some guys over in Europe that are staying up till like 6 a.m. for these things, and for everybody to have patience and realize that this is a one-of-a-kind, never-been-done-before situation. It was so great for everybody to have patience. Hey, you're getting into vacation mode too. Great first round. The second round will continue tonight. That means the futures auction has been bumped a little bit to next weekend, but it gives everybody more time. The 2024 draft, there is not a lot of information, and scouts have to find the players that are going to be worth them, going out and drafting in that situation. So great weekend, though, so far for the UFHL.
Yeah, so I want to highlight a couple of things you said there. Obviously, and many people might not think of this, that we are absolutely global in our reach. Even in the UFHL, we have our scouts, a lot of them in Europe. And you're right, Dean, they're up, in the wee hours in the morning and preparing for these things. So there has been no slowdown in the UFHL. Obviously I get to see, everything that's happening in the UFFS ecosystem, and there is a lot. And I was impressed by the work in the back room to get these auctions and in these drafts off the ground, and more to come. I was looking at the draft rooms there. I had a look at Nick Taylor's from VIP Sports Management. Pretty cool stuff. I saw yours, Dean, in the Marsh. I was a little concerned, though, a lot of TVs, a lot of electricity being consumed. Your carbon footprint, you got a handle on that? You got carbon sequestration, I guess, with the Marsh and the water, however that works with marshes. But I don't know. I was concerned with your carbon footprint, but man, you had one heck of a nice draft room. I was really impressed. Looked like there was a competition on who had the best draft room there, actually. Nice hat.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, and you know what, you do, you should be surrounded by comfort. Somebody said, how do you watch that many? It's like, I told you guys this story one time. I went into Global Winnipeg to hang out with my brother, and he put me to work watching 12 TV screens and writing down time codes. And in TV, that's what you do. You learn to watch things, just for the highlights. You're not watching as closely, but it's not as severe in here. And I don't know. Usually what I like to do is I'll put a movie on and a game on. And I like to watch games without sound. No offense to depending on who the commentator is. Vin Scully or Bob Cole ever come back, I'll watch every one of their games. But I watch games without the sound because I find I'm not influenced as much by what they're saying, and I'm looking for specific things. So, and then I have something on in the other TV to entertain me. So that's how I roll. Yeah, you got a busy
place. I know Trisha's doing Tetris and the packing. You're getting your beach gear on. I want to clarify something, because every time you come back, you go off screen. I don't see what you're doing. You put on shades and a hat. And please tell me that you're not going to a nude beach, because I'm starting to get a little scared of what's going to come next, to be honest. And I just want to be sure I'm ready.
No spoilers. I'm not giving you any spoilers. No leaks. Okay. This isn't the Seattle Kraken expansion list here where we're leaking every name. This is the UFHL and UFSN and UFFS, and we don't leak things.
I just want to be mentally prepared for what I'm about to see. That's all I'm saying, man. So let's move on to...
Mentally prepare yourself for everything, man.
For anything. Yeah, I've learned that with you, my friend. So let's talk about, we're still on the UFHL and hockey. That expansion draft, you, Larry, the studio setup, Brennan was a star on that show. I think he did a fantastic job on behalf of the owners of Darwin and Drew at the Bentley Jacks. You killed that show. That was a fantastic show, guys. Good job. As he's putting on, I think it's sunscreen, or is that mosquito spray?
Trying to get some sunscreen on. I want to be fully covered. The glare of that show, of the spotlight, I don't know, this sunscreen's not even working. Well, our props don't even work around here.
No, geez.
But, the glare of that show was so bright, I should have had sunscreen on for there. But there was so much hard work put into that show. Andrea Karanduk created so many great graphics, and Brennan did such a good job of not leaking things. When you compare it to the actual show, the only thing ours didn't have was flying fish or Larry interviewing the Ogopogo in Kelowna. Everything else was bang on, spot on. I thought the information was great. I thought it was entertaining. There was a lot of great trades and picks, and it's just I guess it's just a glimpse of things to come here on UFSN. Not only is UFFS revolutionary when it comes to fantasy sports and the blockchain, and we're doing something that nobody else is, but nobody covers fantasy sports like we are covering fantasy sports as well, and will continue to cover fantasy sports. So it's the best league, it's the best platform in the world, and Darren, I always say it deserves to be covered that way.
Absolutely. You guys did a killer job. If Larry does find a way to interview Ogopogo, there's going to be a lot of money to be made there. I want to be a part of that. On the other side of it, I read the comments. I saw a lot of the comments on your show, Dean, and it was better than the Real World Show, to be honest. I heard that many times over. I don't think we need the flying fish. Don't think that went over very well. You guys did a fantastic job. And the Bentley Jacks, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. They're going to be a force. I hope Duckman's is ready.
Oh, yeah, we're ready, man. We are definitely ready for the Bentley Jacks and whatever else. Or the beach. We're ready to go to the beach. I got my MTV muscle shirt on. I'm ready to... Trish wants to bury me up to my neck and then probably leave me there or something like that. I don't know. And just take over Duckman's and things like that. So Duckman's is ready for anything, man. Vacation, work, whatever. We do it all. We're ready. We're ready to go.
Trish is
I'm almost ready to go on vacation, though, man.
I know.
Can you see I'm excited to go on vacation and visit my family?
I saw, and I'm glad you still have a T-shirt on. That makes me happy. I'm going to put on my next hat here, and this
there you
is
go.
because I'm headed to Saskatchewan. I'm an avid Rough Rider Saskatchewan Rough Rider fan. But so let's turn our attention now to the football side of things and the UFAFL. Obviously, we've talked so much about it these past couple of weeks and continue to do so, and there's a lot happening in that league. We did the official, the auction, of course, in Vegas. And Dean, you have to be there next time, my friend. We have to have a lot more people there. This was so much fun. I got to meet a lot of the, the legend NFL guys. Such great down-to-earth people. Met with Jackson Crisp and Andrew Glover. You probably saw the pictures. Those guys were about 3 feet taller than me. It's kind of funny on both sides of it. Funny for me, funny for them, but just great guys to talk to. You learn about their careers. You learn about some of the things that these guys went through. In their playing days. Finding their way to be on the the starting roster. It's always interesting, Dean, to hear the backstory, because all you ever see is what's in the media, whether it's right or wrong. Mm-hmm. I love to get that first person story and hear the background stuff that you never really hear unless you hear it come right out of their mouths. And that was a fascinating weekend for me to hear that, hanging around with CFL legend Damon Allen, of course, Nick Lewis. Well, we're a big part of what those guys do. I even got the shout out to the AO Sports athlete takeover or take back shirt, I guess it says here. And of course, this is their coin. But yeah, it was a great weekend. Terrence Bud Crawford, hung out with him a little bit too. The guy can catch a football. I have seen that. But Dean, it was an amazing weekend. Can you believe that we sold 32 franchise for a cool 1.3 almost 1.3 million dollars USD?
I was so jealous of the pictures that I saw, and just the names that were coming out of that weekend, and of course the auction itself was just amazing. That's to get 3 6-figure bids and have the names that we had on that leaderboard: Carter, Vic, Crawford, Nick Lewis, and one of the things I love about the CFL, one of my biggest regrets, is we got to head home from Manitoba like the day before the Bombers opening game, which I would love to go see with my dad at some point, or a Gold Eyes game. I wish they were playing. I'd love to do that, but maybe another time, hopefully. But the CFL, the thing I loved about covering the CFL, and I covered it in Regina when I worked for Global Regina, and I covered it in Edmonton, in different times along the way. I love the stories. I love that everybody pretty much that plays in the CFL was a star somewhere, whether it was in college, whether it was in junior college, whether it was in high school. They were all great stars at some point, and they all have great stories. And, the CFL has gotten better, but a lot of the times you would be doing stories about a guy working out for the Eskimos in the morning for camp, and then going to work, and then, working out again. And it's gotten a lot better, but the stories are still there, and the history behind these players. So, to hear about how a guy got started and the trials and tribulations that he might have went through to get through his career, I think it's fascinating. And that's one of the reasons I loved about covering the CFL when I did.
Yeah, and you talk about the story. So, hanging out with Damon Allen in our super cabana that we had rented beside the stadium pool there at Circa. And a shout out to the Circa, the owners, Greg and Derek. Stevens, of course, I think they're picking number 4 in the UFAFL draft. So that's going to be big to have those folks behind us, because that's a fantastic place to host these kind of things. And we're going to do a lot more of that, Dean. But back on the stories, talking to Damon Allen, he obviously, he knows I'm a Rough Rider fan, and we were talking about that. And he said, yeah, I always had great luck every time I came to visit Regina and play in Saskatchewan. And he did. But the other cool thing that was, he said that, they had a formidable defense, for many years they did. And I remember when, I can't remember right now what they had. They had a name for their defense there for a while. And they were tough to beat. And he said, you know what? When I came into Saskatchewan, their defense, they made me a better quarterback. And those are the kind of things that, I like to hear as a Rider fan, number one. And then, specifically, and I hope this makes him smile too, he probably already knows this, but hanging out with Tad Cornegay, of course, played for the Riders for 5-6 seasons. He had his Grey Cup Rider ring on. And that was a highlight of my trip, Dean, as he actually pulled it off his finger and he set it in my hand. And I'm like, wow, I'm actually holding a Rough Rider Grey Cup ring for the first time in my life. Took a picture of it. That was pretty cool. Sent that right away to my wife. She's even a bigger Rider fan than me, if you can believe it. So, just to hear stories like that. And Damon said, Tad was a really hard player to play against. He said a fierce competitor, and he was so smart. And those are the kind of just sitting around having a drink of lemonade, in the cabana type of stories that just makes these things, these trips awesome. And we're going to have a lot more of these in the future, Dean.
Oh, yeah. I cannot wait to get down to Vegas. I got my pool gear on already, man. I'm ready for the pool.
I know, you're ready to go.
But, I sent my brother Darren a note, as who works for the Vegas Golden Knights broadcast. And I said, hey, we're planning to come there in September for this, and I said we're staying at the Circa, and all he said back is, you're really gonna love the Circa. So even a Vegas resident there is a big fan of that place. So I can't wait to get back down there, and as you mentioned, we have so many amazing things going on in the next little while. Like it just like the UFHL never stops, the entire UFFS ecosystem and platform is always running at high speed.
Yeah, so you can see we actually, these are the upcoming auctions. We have a lot more things, more detailed dates with certain sports coming up that we can talk a little bit for the UFAFL. But basketball, for sure, we're going to host that at the Circa. We don't know yet what we're going to do about some of these other ones. The plan, if we can involve the Circa, will be obviously some of these dates. The pool isn't going to be open most likely in Vegas, so we'll see what we do. But, basketball is going to be a huge one. Football Legends is going to be massive. We've already got some of these legends signed up as NFTs. Baseball, Dean, I know near and dear to your heart. We'll probably leave that one in your hands on where and how we're going to do that one. CFL Legends, that's going to be right around Grey Cup. Doesn't get any better than that, Dean. I mean, for me, that's going to be an important one. Rugby, well, what the heck? I don't know the first thing about rugby, but I know you got to be pretty dang tough to play that sport, but that's going to be interesting. And I'm really looking forward to golf, too. We backed that one off a bit. But golf's going to be an interesting one because it's going to be our first sport that we get into that is more individual in nature, and we're going to have to construct how that ecosystem works. So some really important dates. We're, as you can see, incredibly busy. And, hey, I think this is going to be my official vacation cap.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty proud of this cap. I think on one side or the other I got UFFS. I can't see in my screen, but
I dig that.
But got that, the combination of AO Sports athlete token. I'm ready. I'm ready for the weekend, and I don't care if I get buried in the sand and I have to leave some of this paraphernalia around on the beach. Someone will pick it up, and one day they're going to be very, very proud to be wearing what I left behind. And I did leave some shirts behind in Vegas, by the way. I should point that out. I left a lot of shirts behind, actually. And
you're just a nice guy. You're so charitable, man. You're just so charitable. It's awesome.
It's like what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, and I guess if you leave your shirts behind in Vegas, they stay in Vegas too. I'm finding that out real quick.
What you buy in Vegas stays in Vegas, I guess, if you leave it in the wardrobe. But that's good. I heard there's some stickers floating around already in Vegas, and I cannot wait to get down there in September and get the lay of the land, help out where I can and just be involved in everything and just enjoy. This is so good. to be involved. And, hopefully we'll have some, big baseball names there as well to help us celebrate when we get baseball franchise auctions going in November. But I think I hear the Tetris music, man. I don't know if that's happening, but anything else you want to get to? Because, man, we have so much going on that I don't want to miss out on anything. And even though we're taking this quick pause, we're going to be right back at it and hitting the ground running when we return.
Yeah, really, I think we said this was going to be a quick show. You got to get going. Trish is playing Tetris there, packing the van as the way she can, and I know you can't. But I do want to highlight again, some of the big bids in the UFAFL auction. We had the Vic Carter Crawford at $175,000 US, and Nick Lewis got in there number 2 at $151,000. Jack Johnson Ownership Group, and a big reveal will come up at some point when they want to reveal their names. Number 3, and Circa Sports. That's big, and they're going to get behind us. And I think you're going to see a lot more involvement in the future from those folks at $60,000 US. And I do have to shout out, I'd be amiss if I didn't shout out to Oscar Lopez. And he was the guy that really helped us put that whole VIP weekend together, Dean. So I wanted to make sure that I got his name out there, and he's going to be involved with us putting these fun events together in the future. And I see this UFBA launch being a massive event. We all got to make sure we get our merch figured out for each of our franchises and be ready to hand that out to fans and players alike that we draft into our franchises. And that's where I see, little merchandise tables and little booths and everybody having their own little room to gather. This is where I see this thing going, Dean. I see it. It's incredible what's going to happen. But I do want to point out there is some important dates we should get out, because things are happening incredibly fast, and I can probably hear the sounds in the background of teams gathering and computers clicking and websites they're looking at in terms of trying to create names and logos. This is a quick turnaround. I know Mojo Designs is just getting smoked. Talk to him. August 2nd is the deadline for the UFAFL franchises to have their name, logos, and colors submitted. The payment deadline for the franchises is August the 18th. And then, of course, it's the draft, Dean. It's the draft. Another big weekend. So now a 53-round draft, Dean. August 20th to 23rd. Holy smokes. I can't even imagine. I would not want to run one of these teams. That's for somebody else, but not a guy like me. This is going to be incredible. And I know guys are just pouring their efforts into this right now. It's going to be unbelievable. So those are the important dates. Yeah, there's others as well, but those are the big ones that guys really need to think about right now.
Yeah, there are guys that are just salivating over this 53-man draft. And there are teams of 6, 7, 8 different coordinators and things. This football is a beast of its own, and I cannot wait to be a part of it. Golf, I can't wait to see that as well. And, that's, we own a couple of hockey teams, the Mildeco Sports Empire, as we call it. You take a Millard, you mix it with a Fideco, and you get Mildeco. So the Mildeco Sports Empire will be growing. It's got 2 hockey teams and a scouting agency, but we plan to add a golf team. That's our goal, and there's a few other things as well. I can't own in baseball because I'm the head of baseball, but I'm very happy with that. But we do plan on adding some more teams in different sports, and maybe not quite as big as the 7 C's and some of these other blockchain athletics that are going to get into all these sports, but we're going to dabble in it as well. And that's the beauty of this, is that you can get involved. And if you can get involved early, it's going to be fun. But I can't wait to get down to Vegas with you guys and celebrate. And I think, big congratulations to you, Darren, and the founders, and, this vision that Tony has. That was a big weekend to be able to enjoy, celebrate, and, as they say in athletics and sports, we get right back at it and try to get even better the next day.
Well, I think the most exciting thing was just to see the passion and the buy-in from the athletes themselves and everybody involved, and to have the belief in this thing that we created. Going back, started actually in September 2019 to see what it's become. Incredible. And I can't wait for everyone to join us at the next big launch in, probably we'll be in Vegas at the Circa coming up in September. So, yeah, I think, this was nice to be able to rattle off this one. I'm glad you still have your clothes on. I hope you don't go off screen and come back naked.
If this show went any longer, a Speedo would have came into play. So it's a good thing you're wrapping it up when you did, because nobody wants to see that.
Not better wrap this thing up.
Trish would even she'd just start the car and drive away if that happened.
Yeah, no, this is good. Good we could fit it in. Thanks to you. I know you got to get going, and thanks for putting in the time. We gave Larry a break. I think that's it. I think we covered all we can cover today. We'll be back on August 8th for the official UFFS podcast, and it'll be our regular around 1 hour podcast and some more guests at that time. Thanks, Dean. Enjoy your vacay. Say hi to Trish. I hope she did the Tetris job that we know she can. And I love that name, Mildeco. I'm going to work with that.
All right. Thank you so much, man. This is a good one. Have a good vacation. Maybe we'll wave at each other on the highway through Saskatchewan.
Absolutely, we will. Thanks, everybody, for joining us here on this, what we call a vacation and hurricane special, and a very condensed version of the UFFS podcast, proudly broadcast on the UFSN network. And this is where you own the game.
This has been the UFFS podcast with Darren Bates and Larry Fisher. Get in the game where you own the game at www.uffsports.com.